Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about why as you build more and more wealth, it feels more and more boring. So, when we first get into investing, I remember I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game, and that really lit a spark under my in my brain of like with Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's assets versus liabilities. Like assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out of your pocket. So your goal is to make money from a job or a business or passive income, and then from there you could keep your expenses as low as possible. So keep your liabilities as low as possible. So ideally no car loans, no credit card debt that carries over. Student loans, obviously that was a big one for me. And whatever you have left over, you invest that in assets that will work for you long term. And in the beginning, it starts small, but over time it compounds and grows. And eventually one day, this passive income will take over your active income. And I've kind of hit that point, I would say, close to where my passive income probably surpasses my active income. But my active income, if you think about it, it's taxed at a much higher rate. So I have to pay ordinary income tax, which can go up to 40 to 50%, depending on your income, versus passive income. It's if it's real estate, it's usually tax free because you have depreciation from your rental properties, or you, whatever rate you're paying, it's significantly cheaper. If I were to withdraw money from my stock portfolio, I'm only paying long-term capital gains tax, which is at most, I think 10 or 20% of your tax rate, which is half of what I'm being taxed right now working as a W-2 employee. So, W-2 has pros and cons, but I think it's a realistic spot where 90% of the world starts in. 10% of the people own their own business, they're entrepreneurs, which means that only 10% of people are fit to be able to live that lifestyle. 90%, you're better off just getting a high income W-2 and then trying to make as much money as you can in that W-2 to then invest that margin that you have into cash flowing assets. So, in the beginning, this was all very, very exciting. Once I learned about Vanguard index funds, my 3-fund portfolio of total US stock market, international index fund, and then the total bond market, I think I'm about 70% in the total US, 25% international, and 5% in bonds. So I'm pretty aggressive in stocks, but that was exciting. But once I automate it, it's so boring to me now. I've been doing this since probably 2013, I would say. I always just knew to invest in the SP 500 because I didn't know any better. I just thought why would you not want to own the top 500 companies? So it just kind of made sense to me. But now that I kind of understand it and I automate it, it's super boring. I just literally automate whatever, $1,000 a month, and the percentages are split up into each of the 3 index funds. And it happens every single month, automated without me even looking or doing anything. So in the beginning, it was super exciting. And then now it's super boring, but my returns have been so amazing because, it's been a nice bull market from 2013 to probably present day. It's a little bit more volatile now, but overall the past 10, 12 years, it's been a crazy bull market, and I didn't really do anything. I just set it and forget it, and then it just grows and compounds. And the dividends is reinvested. If you get paid dividends every quarter, or you get dividends every month for the bonds. And I remember looking when I do my tax returns, every year the dividend income increases significantly. It's 10,000 one year, the next year it'll be 12,000, and it'll be 14,000, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows, and it becomes super boring. So once that became boring for me, what's the next thing to do as somebody who likes shiny objects, right? I jumped into real estate, and then I started off as house hacking. So getting a first house was very exciting to me. Learning how to house hack and be a landlord was very exciting for me. And that's what I did for the first 3 properties. I bought a house 10% down. I lived in a master. I rented out the 3 other bedrooms for $1,000 each. And then I learned to be a landlord. And then I did that again and then rented out the last house. So it was new. It was exciting. But after I did 3 of these properties, I was you know what? I don't want to live with tenants anymore, because that was in my 20s. I'm now in my 30s, and I have a girlfriend now. I want privacy. I want my peace. I want my quiet. I want to control my environment at this stage of my life. So I just said, okay, well, I then went into out-of-state rentals, and that's when I discovered Huntsville, Alabama, and it was very exciting for me to buy something out of state, to use a property manager for the first time, to buy a property in a state that I've never been in, bought a property sight unseen. Like I literally had I think a virtual like video camera conferencing walkthrough. But to me, it's like a new construction property. I'm not worried about it. I have my inspector walk the property, which I trust more. I have my property manager walk the property, which I trust more. And it's a new property, so you have builder warranties for the first year. So if, let's say, a tenant moves in and then we find out that something was built incorrectly, you just can put a request in and then they can just fix it. So I'm not as worried, right? I don't need to see the area as long as it's a good school district, low crime, attracts high quality A-class tenants. I'm happy. So like, I don't really need to see it, but once again, it's super exciting. But then once I bought one, the next one's feel so boring. Like I literally just made an offer right now on a new build in Huntsville, Alabama. Once again, never been there, never seen it. Just trusting my property manager, trusting my inspector, and then trusting on the fact that the builder warranty is there for 1 year as a buffer for me, for uncertainty. But like literally, I'm gonna feel so indifferent to buying it. It's gonna feel so boring. So then what I do after that, I moved on to multifamily real estate. And then, I bought an apartment, bought a second apartment, fixed it up, learned it. It was new, exciting, got bored, went to mobile home park, bought that, didn't do so great, sold it for a loss, realized that I don't want to do that one again, or mobile home parks again, because it's too capital intensive, it's too labor intensive, it's too time intensive for me. Like I'd rather just buy, like I wish the money that I used for a mobile home park, which is trapped in a second lien position, which is about $400,000 plus. I wish I just could have taken that and then use that to go buy these new constructions in Huntsville, Alabama, because it's like more passive, it's more easy for me. And it would not require that much work, honestly. Like just buy it, it gets rented out, refinance it, pull it out, buy another one cash, refinance it, pull it out. Like, and I'd use the same lender every time. And it would be so boring. And they would know my numbers, they would know my metrics, they would know my credit score, they already know me. So like it becomes systemized. And then now, like I hit the point where I'm like, oh, like there's nothing really new. And I know I can't do something new because it wouldn't make sense at all. Like it would not make sense for me at this point to go into self-storage. That makes absolutely zero sense. It makes no sense for me to buy in a different market because I already have my teams in my current market. Like it doesn't make sense for me to go to Tennessee. Like why would I want to learn a new market, right? I already have an unfair advantage in California because I live here. I have unfair advantage in Oklahoma in apartments because I own apartments there and I have property management there. And I have unfair advantage in Huntsville, Alabama because I have a system there. I have a team there. So like at this point, I'm just staying in my lane, which is 3 lanes, still a lot of lanes to be honest, but I want to stay in my lane. Probably not going to buy in California right now. Apartments, not quite ready there to buy apartments yet. Maybe if interest rates lower and then, cap rates lower, then, I'll be going back into the market. And in this phase, I'm kind of focusing on reducing stress and my health and fitness. So, managing an apartment right now, it's not in the best interest of my health right now. So it makes sense for me to go into Huntsville, Alabama, which is more passive. It's easier. It's simple, right? Simple scales, fancy fails. So all that to say is like everything feels fun and exciting in the beginning and then eventually it gets boring. But when it gets boring, that's when you start to build true wealth. So like buying index funds for me is super boring and not interesting. So that's why I know it's building me wealth. Like buying single family homes in Huntsville, Alabama is boring for me. That's when I know it's gonna make me wealth because I'm just like, oh, like I just make an offer based on numbers, not based on emotions. I don't want to get emotionally hyped up. I don't want to make a bad decision. I make an offer that makes sense for me and only me. And I know that 90% of the time, 99% of the time, they're gonna say no to the deal. But the key is I make an offer, I take action, right? So that's really the focus of that is to make offers and take action. And if you do that consistently, it starts to feel really boring. Like, and that's like I said, that's when you know you're being successful at it. Like if I were to buy another apartment complex in Oklahoma near my 26 unit apartment complex, using my same property manager, using my same general contractor, I know it's gonna be boring. Not as exciting because I know what the numbers are. I know how much it's going to cost to renovate. I know how much it's going to cost to get the rents. I know how my property manager is going to handle the renovation. Or lease out the units. I know how my general contractor is going to renovate the units. They're going to renovate in batches of 5. And once 5 are ready, my property manager will then lease them out and they'll work on the next 5 and then lease those out in the next 5 until it's done. And I know it's roughly going to take around like maybe 1.5 years to 2.5 years. So, like for me, like there's like no surprises. And if I'm doing renovations, I just would like probably touch base maybe once or twice a week to see how it's going. If they have any questions, of course, I'll answer questions. I'll make sure the account's funded with money for renovations. So like you said, it gets like really boring. But that's when you know it's like starts to compound. And that's where most people fail. That's why I'm trying to pull myself back. Like I'm so bored. So I'm trying to distract myself, if I'm being honest. That's my whole motivation now with YouTube. Like I'm just distracting myself from doing something new and shiny that's going to make me lose money and waste my time, waste my energy, waste my effort, make me stressed out. And I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to stay focused. In the beginning, when I created YouTube, I was anxious and depressed. So I was just trying to like have an outlet. But now it's just like I'm trying to distract myself from doing something new and stupid that will make me lose money. So that's why I create content. Like it's just a distraction for me so that I don't like go into self-storage for some reason. Like there's no reason for me to go into self-storage. Like I was even looking at like triple net leases like for Dollar Generals. I was like, seems easy. But I'm like, I know nothing about that. Like it makes no sense for me to do something like that. Like, so just stay in my lane until I get to the point where if I'm like so rich, like all the sports athletes and celebrities where they're just investing with like, private equity firms, and then they will be the ones who like invest in like sports teams or like startups. Like if I get to that point, it's not bad. But like if you look at like someone like LeBron James or Stephen Curry, like they make like, I don't know, $70 million a year in the NBA. If you include their endorsements, it's well over $100 million a year. And then they just basically have their money managed by a family office who then invests money into like private equity firms and deals. So they become part owners of teams, sports teams, NBA teams, NFL teams, MLB teams, and they have access to new opportunities. Or like if they have like a pickleball league, like they just can invest their money, but they're just focused on their one thing, which is playing basketball, right? For example, for Curry and LeBron, playing basketball, having a good personal brand so that they get endorsements, sponsorships, and business opportunities, and that's it. And all their money is managed by someone else. So like that's the thing where they're focused in on just playing basketball, and everything else is a distraction. So I'm trying to, I'm not that level, but like same thing where like I'm trying not to distract myself. So as you build more and more wealth, it gets more and more boring. But when it starts to feel really boring, it's really hitting me right now because it's so boring. That's when you need to double down it and stick to your lanes. Stick to your lanes, because most people will be distracted and they'll lose money and time, effort, and focus, versus you just double down on what's working. So this is kind of, hopefully you found value from this, but it's kind of therapy for me to share this. But it's boring. When it starts to get boring, that's when it works. So just keep going. And that's the hard part, right? Like if you look at the owner of Panda Express, he's just been making like orange chicken, for example, for a very long time. And now they're expanding to like Panda Inn, which is like higher end Chinese food. But he opened up so many stores of Panda Express. He just mastered Panda Express. Then he expanded Panda Inn. Then they started acquiring like Uncle Tetsu and acquiring a bunch of other businesses. So they started expanding, but he just focused on Panda, making the best orange chicken possible to attract people in. And then once he mastered that, then he expanded into like Panda Inn and Uncle Tetsu. But he's been doing one thing for a very long, like 30, 40 years before he even expanded. And I'm only on year 8. So why am I even thinking about expansion, right? So like I said, it's all distraction, just stay focused. So anyways, hopefully you found value from this video. Let me know what questions you have. If you want one-on-one coaching, you want mentorship, you want courses, you want to send me an email, click on my link tree down below. There's links to all that. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.